Hi there. Hello everyone. How are you doing? Um, Sorry, I think there's a motorcycle coming. So yeah, um, thank you so much for being here, for stopping by to listen to what I have to share. I hope this may help people going through similar things. That's the only reason why I'm here. I do believe I went through everything that I went through so that I could share the story with you once I found my way out of it. Um, because it helps a lot when we go through very difficult things in life, and when we make we find our way out, we survive, and we survive bringing some clarity and understanding, having found some healing. It helps a lot to share the story with other people, because then we are not only sharing the drama, we are sharing the lessons, what we've learned, um, what we've understood um, about what within us creates um, this kind of situations. Because everything that we go through, um, hi there, hi everyone, how are you doing? Thank you so much for being here, for stopping by to listen to what I have to share. I've been trying to film this video for like almost the whole afternoon, and every time I start, something happens that makes me stop. Noise, and I don't know, so many things, and I'm almost running out of battery, so this time I just hope I'll make it. So yeah, let me introduce myself to you. My birth name is Livia. I am, if you've been around my YouTube channel, you might have found a few things I've written, and I have signed them as Harvest Rose. That was like an artist name I created, um, because at that time I wasn't feeling ready to expose my identity. I wasn't sure I should, so I didn't. But now, um, I feel it's time to share this whole story with you, and to do so, I just need to show up and show my face to connect with you. And so I might as well tell you my birth name. So yeah, I'm Livia, and as you have seen on my thumbnail and title, I've been through a very, very insane journey. Sorry guys, the noise. I'm sorry. And this journey really lasted my entire life up to this point. I'm about to turn 50 in a month and a bit. I'll be 50, so it's like half a century of story to tell. Because even though the the part of the journey that I'm calling hell uh, lasted on for 11 years, on for only, that was a lot already, 11 years. um, that was like the thick of it, the really hellish part of this journey. But the journey is started the minute I was born, because you know, you might know, if you have been through in abusive relationships, that we never get into abusive environments. Just a second. So we never get into abusive relationships and environments, like unhealthy, toxic, traumatic environments, relationships, and events out of nowhere. It When we get into that, it's always because we have unhealed wounds within that we have been carrying within, and usually it starts at birth. So that's my case and the case of many of us. So because it's a long story and I don't feel I can make it short to fit in one single video, I'll be sorry. I'm pausing this video sometimes because I cannot. I'm telling you, do you hear the noise right now? This is crazy, man. I cannot believe that. So I'm gonna be walking now. I don't think I will be able to edit this video, so I just have to do it in one go. So when there's noise, I have to pause or walk, and so yeah. So bear with me, guys, and I'm getting like almost mental fog, and I'm getting mentally tired of trying to talk to you and not, you know. But yeah, let's do it. So yeah, so I'll be sharing that this video with you. I mean, this story with you through many videos. This is the first one, and today, hopefully, I will be sharing with you the main stuff, like giving you an idea of what happened, so that you can have some context to understand where I was at the beginning of this month, August, the beginning of August, end of July, beginning of August, because I'm gonna start this going deep in this whole story by the end. I'm gonna start by the end because I believe I'm experiencing right now the last chapter of this journey. This last chapter began at the beginning of this month and will be ending by the minute I post this video. And that's gonna conclude this this phase of my life. That's what I feel inside, and I want to share this last chapter with you because it means a lot. You'll understand, but I just need to give you some context. So yes, my story was about a lot of narcissistic abuse, mainly a lot of mental and emotional manipulation, a lot of gaslighting, that I experienced my entire life, in many ways, different ways, very sometimes very subtle, very covered, sometimes a bit more, how to say, there is a word for that but I forgot, but like in a more open way. Growing up, since I was a kid and growing up, I've always been in very difficult environments when it comes to connections, relationships, of all sorts, like family, friends, partners. The interactions have always been very unhealthy. There has been a lot of comparison, competition, jealousy, envy that ended up in abuse, like because some people around me had not dealt with their wounds and they were like struggling with many unhealed emotions and comparison and jealousy, Um, they just wanted to dim my light. Basically, they wanted to dim my light, either dim it or make it work for them, make it serve them somehow. So that was um, what I dealt with growing up as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, in many different ways from basically everyone around me. And because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't realize how those people really felt about me, what their true intentions were. Sorry, I'm not looking at you, am I? Sorry, I'm gonna look at you. So I didn't realize what was going on. I was just feeling hurt without even realizing I was feeling hurt. So I carried those wounds to my adulthood. Um, and in my next videos, I'm gonna go deep into all of that and clarify to you what actually happened and what kind of dynamics were going on. I'm gonna go deep into everything, but today is just a brief idea. So yes, I I carried those wounds into my adulthood. So there was like abandonment wounds. There was how do you say, me feeling like it would be better if I didn't shine my light, if I didn't shine bright, if I just really dim my light, because I understood that it caused it triggered people a lot in many ways, and I didn't want that. I didn't want people feeling hurt because I was shining and they couldn't deal with that. I didn't want people feeling bad about it, feeling bad about themselves. I didn't want them treating me bad and, you know, being difficult with me, being triggered. I didn't want conflict. So I started really dimming my light, and just there was a lot of unhealed things. And that's why I ended up getting into even more abusive interactions and connections and relationships and environments during my adulthood. So the first very abusive and crazy environment that I got into during my adulthood was a cult. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. C-U-L-T, cult, that was disguised as a school of self-knowledge, like as if it was a very grounded, sensible place to be, to study about the self and spirituality and many other things. But it was actually a very narcissistic, abusive place, led by a very narcissistic, a very narcissistic person. And it was really crazy. I'm gonna tell you all about it. But I spent 14 years of my life in that place, and there was so much gaslighting and mental manipulation. It was literally brainwashing. I was brainwashed for sure. And so it was like a preparation to get into the relationship I got into with a partner. after those 14 years. So, just a second. Hi, guys. I wish this video was a bit different. Like, I feel like it's a bit all over the place, but that's because I can't barely think by this time of the day after spending almost 4 hours trying to record this video. But I am gonna post it anyways, like the way that it is. And yeah, just to get this out of the way, this first video out of the way, and then I hope that for the next one things are gonna be more like put together. So after 14 years in that cult, I started dating someone that I met in that cult. I already knew this person, this man. I mean, for those 14 years, he had been there with me for 14 years. He was younger than me, a little bit younger than me, and so I met him. He was still a child, and he'd been there in that cult since he was a child. So we started dating, and very soon after we started, he he started channeling, you know, like having spiritual experiences that he that he believed were, you know, divinely aligned. And I was so I don't know, in love at that moment, that I believed him. You know, I had known him for 14 years, and I thought I knew him well enough and that he was trustworthy, and I just believed him. And then it soon became abuse again, narcissistic abuse. It was like copy and paste from what he had experienced in that cult. It was like he was repeating what he had seen the leader of that cult do. He tried to copy the leader and repeat the whole story. And because I had already been brainwashed, I didn't realize what was going on. I believed everything, and I started not only dating him, but following him as a spiritual leader. But he was not divinely aligned. He was aligned with his own ego, with his own wounds, and behaving in a very, very narcissistic, abusive way. And it was absolutely crazy because it was mixed with what I call reversed spirituality. I used to say fake spirituality, but it's not that it's fake. It's a kind of a spirituality, but it's like using spiritual teachings, knowledge, and even energies to serve their own ego instead of for the highest and greatest good of all. So I went through really crazy stuff because he would tell me to do things that were absolutely crazy, and I would believe him and would do everything, and everything was very abusive. Everything was very, very abusive in all ways, So by the end of that relationship, things were so crazy, so crazy. He had gone to such an extreme of craziness and abuse that I was just like, this cannot, after 11 years of craziness, I was like, this cannot be right. But yeah, never too late. I spent the amount of time that I needed to spend in that situation to to learn about it. It was actually a kind of study. I don't know how to say that in English, but you know when scientists like biologists, they study at home through books, and then sometimes they go out in the wild and they study in the wild, like lived experience. So that was my study. I had studied a lot of psychology before and spirituality before through books, through theories, spiritual paths, but I had to experience things to understand them. So that's why it took me all that time, because I was in like my mastery degrees, mastery in I don't know, real lived practical psychology. Empiric, I think that's how you say that. So empiric psychology. So yeah, so after my degree had been completed, after 11 years of studying, um, I started, okay, this cannot be right. And then people that was sharing their stories, and I ended up finding videos, because I was actually looking for videos about depression, because I was really thinking about ending my life. I'm sorry, I should have make a disclaimer. I'm so sorry, guys. I just cannot delete the whole thing, and I cannot edit this video. I'm so sorry. So yeah, know that I will be talking about that even more from now on. So if you don't want to go there, you know that I will be going there in this video. Mental health issues, depression, and when it gets really bad. And so because I was going through that, I started looking for videos to help me with depression, and that's how algorithm led me to videos about narcissistic abuse. I had no idea what that meant. I had never heard of it, and then I got to know about it through those videos, through people that were sharing their experiences. And then I clocked the whole thing. I broke up in 2023, and I've been healing since, and it's been amazing. Like in 3.5, almost 4 years, I've really managed to heal a lot, to understand a lot, because yeah, I had to do a lot of inner work, right? This healing journey was mainly about inner work, what people call shadow work, where we go deep into our wounds to understand why we got ourselves into this kind of abuse and relationships. It always comes from within, from something that is not healed enough. I'm gonna talk about all that in better in other videos. So I did a lot of inner work to understand myself, my psychology, my wounds, and why I got into all of that. And just by doing that, I healed a lot, and I understood a lot. And of course, I also went through some energetic healing. I needed to heal my nervous system. That it was a total wreck. I came out of that relationship a total wreck in all areas, like mentally, emotionally, physically, health-wise, vitality, everything, financially, everything was broken. And so I had to not only understand what led me to that situation, but also heal my nervous system, my body, my brain, and my emotions. And I was successful. Like I've healed a lot. I'm still healing, of course. But that was the whole journey. So since 2023, I've been in this healing journey up to this point, and this whole journey up to this point has been very tiring, right? Exhausting, actually. Um, especially, especially when I came out of the relationship, I was very, very exhausted. But even after all this healing, I was feeling really, really exhausted by the beginning of this month. And so that's when this last chapter of my journey begins. um, at the beginning of this month, I was so tired. I could not imagine doing life anymore, to be honest. So here is where I start talking about sensitive subjects, um, mental health issues when it gets really bad. um, I I was doing well. I've been doing well. Like, since I started healing, things have just been better and better, um, mentally, emotionally. But uh, I've been getting more and more tired of everything, of all, of yeah, of everything. And I have to do life as well because I'm an adult, right? Like, I have to pay my bills and everything, which I have not been doing because, yeah, I have not been able to work. I came out of that relationship in total burnout, and not only the usual burnout, but neurodivergent burnout as well, because I found out that I'm also neurodivergent. I still don't have the final diagnosis, but it's almost, yeah. I'd say professionals have referred me to neurologists because they really believe I do have ADHD and autism. So for me, doing life, like adulthood, has always been difficult, very difficult. Neurodivergent people will understand it. That's something I'm gonna be talking about too. But especially when I'm a wreck and really coming out of very, very traumatic decade, I could not even think properly, even breathe, even speak. My voice would barely come out. It was really difficult. So I've been having some financial support from my family, but I have not been able to, how can I say, have the kind of support that I need, that I really need, because I would say I haven't yet found community, people that I resonate with, and it's really, really difficult to fully heal and find strength to do life again, to carry on, to get back on my feet when I'm either surrounded by difficult people and unhealthy environments, because I left that relationship, but the people that I was around was still very challenging to be around, and that didn't help me fully recovering and it just and also and then okay, I ended up leaving those people as well. And so I left the relationship, and then I left people that was around me. Just a second. That that was not that were not fully healed themselves, so um, the environment was toxic. So I left those environments as well, and I started doing life on my own. But it can get really heavy to be on your own for so long. I needed to be on my own for a long time, which I did, because I just needed to process everything, heal, and find my energy when it's not mixed with other energies, and understand what it's mine, what it's not mine to carry, and all of that. So I've been like hermiting, like tarot readers say, um, for years. And the thing is, it was very important, but also it can get really heavy to be on your own. It gets to a point where um, the healing part is kind of done, and you need community. You need like people you really resonate with, people you can relax with, people you can trust, people you don't need to be on guard 24/7, because that's extremely tiring. And that's what happened to me. I was exhausted of being on guard 24/7, and or just being on my own, having to figure life out as a neurodivergent person on my own. It's really